Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is now here with some guidelines we can use. Doc, we haven't had therapy in 2 weeks. I'm missing you.
Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday, and I've missed both of you as well.
Yes, very good to see you.
Nice to see you. You know, I mean, it's the kids are coming home, whether they're seeing stuff on social media or, you know, they're definitely aware of what's going on, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. How do you get started to talk to kids about what they're worried about could be World War III?
So, well, that's dramatic. So that's what I like to do is have some guidelines to go by, right? So one of the guidelines is to wait for an opportune time, right? When you're rushing out in the morning to get to school, or they're coming home at the end of the day, or while you're making dinner. Those are not good times. So wait for a time. You know, when you have some one-on-one time, you're driving in the car together. That's actually one of my favorite times to have conversations because everyone is captive. Maybe at dinner when everyone's together. So waiting for an opportune time.
All right. And keep their developmental and chronological age in mind?
Absolutely. So using words and language that's appropriate based on their developmental and their chronological age, right? If you have a 15-year-old, but you know that emotionally they're more like 12, then you're going to, you know, give them information and talk to them more like their developmental age. What we know is that high schoolers have a lot of access to social media, which is riddled with misinformation. And you talk about TikTok challenges. There's a lot of misinformation on TikTok and other social media platforms. So that means you need to debunk false information from them.
Right. There's all this stuff on TikTok now. I know my daughter's been asking me, and all the kids are talking about getting drafted. Like, are you guys going to get drafted? And who can get drafted? No one is getting drafted.
Right. So that's why I get really kind of freaky about all the misinformation on social media, because kids take this in and they believe it verbatim. Right. No one's getting drafted. We already know they're, you know, when boys are 18, they have to sign up, but no one's getting drafted. That would take a major act of Congress, and there'd be so much backlash. So that's not happening. So it is important as parents to stay on top of things, stay informed on what's going on, be aware of what's going on various media and devices. You know, knowing your points of connection. You know, someone who is closely connected to families. You know, right now there's a tragedy in the invasion of Ukraine. You know, if you know families or connected to families, so you might give more information when your point of connection is much more close or intimate than if your kids don't have any connection to this and they're not asking at all.
Right. You say the news on constantly with these horrible scenes is not always necessary. Well, it's not good for the kids.
Right. It's also not good for us adults either to see a lot of this carnage. I'm very sorry about what's going on, but I also have to kind of get through my day, and seeing all these terrible images would make it hard for me to get through my day. So sometimes turning the endless, TV off, and just having other types of images or really just sometimes just turning it off is the best thing. And the most important guideline that I like to highlight for parents is just answer the question. When your child asks you a question, you answer the question. We so often as parents have a wealth of beautiful information and life experience that we'd like to share with our children, but there's a time and a place, and generally they don't want it. So just answer the question. It's like when a child, a 5-year-old says, where do babies come from? They don't need all the information. They need to know the baby grows in a mother's belly, right? That's all they need. So just answer the question, then wait for them to ask the next question, and then answer that question. So just be aware not to give too much information.
So with everything going on right now, should you sit down and prime your kids about, you must be worried about this, or are we waiting for them to say, Mom, what's happening with Russia?
Again, that's really based on the point of connection. Like if you have family members or close friends that have a close connection to this, I might want to say something. Listen, you might hear some things about Russia invading Ukraine, and it's also stirring up a lot of political divisiveness again. So that really kind of stirs the pot as well. So giving them information, but you give them some basic information. If they don't ask you any more questions, then don't keep going on about it, because they have enough information to satiate their need, right? So this is, again, as adults, we and parents, we have good intentions. We want to give our kids lots of information, but too much information is just overwhelming and creates more anxiety.
You're absolutely right, as most of the time you are, as all the time you are.
Remember, just answer the question.
Just answer the question.
Thank you, Doctor. We appreciate your time, as always, and it's good to see you again.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, and take care.
Thanks, Doc. We'll talk to you again